this is what gay teaches us. And this has really helped reshape how I look at boundaries. And when I said it to you, you went, ooh, that when a no is honest, guess what happens? Do you want to tell them?
Yes becomes trustworthy.
Ooh.
Look, we're not here to sell you transformation. We're here to share some truths. Because this stage of life can sneak up on you in the best possible way.
There's a new quiet swagger that comes with it. One you earn simply by being you. We'll walk with you. You don't have to be anywhere else. Turns out it's good here. And sometimes it's even great.
Welcome back to This Gets Good. I am, rather than excited, which I am, I'm intrigued by this topic because I want to be better at it as well. What is it, Heather? Tell them.
Boundaries.
Yes, and cliched, yes, but we need better boundaries.
I've gotten pretty good at them in the last few years.
I think as you get older, there is a part of you that naturally gets better. But there's no matter what age you are, and as you get older, there's still some leftover things, let's call them guilt and people pleasing and
resentment, which we'll talk about.
And we actually did a bit more research on this one because we wanted to understand it better. And really the absolute inspiration for this episode is Gay, who's our resident word from the wise wisdom keeper. And we have touched on this many times. I have never met anyone that does a more elegant F you in the face no than
and
Gay.
She really means it, and we love her for it.
I do. And there's probably every week there's a no I encounter, and there was just one a couple of days ago I was telling you about. But this is what Gay teaches us. And this has really helped reshape how I look at boundaries. And when I said it to you, you went, ooh, that when a no is honest, guess what happens? Do you want to tell them?
Yes becomes trustworthy.
Ooh. Gay has taught us that. What that means is when someone says yes, a friend, whoever, you trust that yes is not said with resentment. It's not said with any sort of agenda or malice or I'm going to pay for this later because I know they don't really want to do it. Or just that feeling of, oh, they said yes, but I feel this, oh, my gut tells me they're not happy about it. And it's such a shit feeling.
It is. I love how honest she is in that way and how she delivers it. I think we can all want to be like Gay when we grow up.
Oh, man. This is great. I can still say I want to be like someone when I grow up.
Yeah, right.
That's really cool.
I know. I thought I'd throw that in there.
Yes, but when someone is comfortable saying no, you can trust their yes is real. And I think if there was nothing more we said, that is massive. And the other thing that I came across that I love is that a boundary isn't telling someone what they have to do or what they have to choose. It tells them what you choose. Mm-hmm. And maybe that helps you feel a little less mean about it. But the thing we really wanted to tackle is the one that people say the most when this topic gets discussed amongst friends, in books. How do you say no without the guilt? Big question. And we found the best answer ever I've found for this. And we haven't read this book, but I think if you do want to get better at boundaries, I think that is worth looking into books to read, because it's one thing to understand they're important. It's another thing to get good at setting them and knowing how to, which we're going to touch on a little bit. But we came across this book called Set Boundaries and Find Peace by a therapist called Nedra Glover Tawwab. I hope I'm saying that right. It was a New York Times bestseller. Do you want to read her key point that
we both loved?
Yeah.
We read it and we're like, we got to start with that.
Yeah, start with that.
There is no such thing as guilt-free boundary setting.
I just want to stop there because everyone goes, but I feel so guilty. And I think we say to ourselves, I'll only set boundaries if I don't feel guilt. I love what Nedra says, that there actually is no such thing. You will feel guilty, but guess what, guys? That made us think of something. You can either choose to feel guilty for saying no, or what I think is the worst, feel resentful for saying yes. This was a mic drop moment for me, like to go, oh my God, It's okay to feel guilty. It is far better than resentfully doing something. Like, you just think, if you ask a friend for help and you know the whole time they've said yes and of course I'll do this, and of course I'll help you, and then the whole time they're there, you can feel their shittiness, right? It actually, I would rather do the thing on my own and do double the work than make someone feel that and for me to have to be in the presence of that energy. So, you know what? I get it. Feel guilty about the no, but don't feel resentful about the yes.
It's a big part of people pleasing, which I know many, many people, especially women, are people pleasers. And so we will tend to say yes because we think it'll A, make somebody feel better or happier, or maybe B, like us more.
Yeah.
And so we'll oftentimes think about what other people want more than what we want. And it can be a real challenge, I believe. So, guilt doesn't necessarily mean the boundary is wrong.
I think that's huge.
Yeah.
Hang on, what you just said is huge. Goes
Yeah.
back to guilt doesn't necessarily mean the boundary is wrong, which is why it is okay, like Nedra says, to feel the guilt. It doesn't make it wrong. You know what? Feeling guilty is lovely because it means you're a good human that wants to help people, that wants to say yes, that wants to turn up to the event, that wants to do the thing.
I think it depends on the guilt as well. I'm going to throw something in there
please,
too.
yes.
What the guilt is. For quite a while there, when I was much more of a workaholic than I am now, so much so, by the way, I think I've said this before, but when I had the two boys in my life and they were my stepchildren, they came into my life at 5 and 7, I would work just nonstop all the time. And the youngest one time came out in the kitchen and he's like, oh, here's Heather, the workaholic. She's on the workaholic drink. And he had this like fake bottle, like he was miming. And he's like, I'm drinking the workaholic drink. And it hit hard.
How old was he?
He was about 12 when he did that.
What is the workaholic drink?
It was just some fictitious thing in his mind
that he equated with you because you're always working, and he knew that word.
It did. So for me, the guilt, funnily enough, was much more about work. And I'd feel guilty if I didn't work on the weekend. I feel guilty if I didn't work after dinner. And I had to really change that.
I know this about you.
You helped me
Yes.
do that. So I think the guilt, it doesn't necessarily have to be people pleasing in people. It's also the guilt, self-imposed guilt in a lot of ways. And it could be work too, right?
Yeah, and you feel that if you don't answer that email when it came in, which could be 9 o'clock at night, there's this sense of guilt for that. Whereas it's so fine to have the boundary of, these are my work hours, short of something being so super urgent, well, let's be honest, is few and far between in most cases, unless you have a very particular type of job. Obviously, if you're on call in something important like a doctor, that's a different thing. But
I let other people's desires dictate me. What
do you
I was
know,
doing.
my partner said this great thing to me years ago, which has stuck with me, that you don't let someone else's desire to call you doesn't dictate you picking it up. Like, just because they're calling you, it doesn't mean you have to pick up. Because I was notorious for, if the phone rings, short of being in the shower, oh shit, I'll pick it up. Just felt better, a little bit of people pleasy, be available, and B, I don't have to deal with it later. But that's not necessarily healthy, because if you're in the middle of something or you just don't feel like that, it is a distraction. And I find the perfect moment does present itself when you ring them back. That's right. He said the phone is at your convenience, not theirs.
Much like emails as well.
So that's it. It's what reminded me. And it's not out of disrespect for that person. Of course, if you know that person is waiting on something urgent, again, it's all situational. But I think we hear the ping, hear the ring, hear the question, and we feel like we have to respond, answer, sort straight away.
And I used to be like that until I heard another, I don't even know where I heard this, but you train people on how you want to be treated.
Yeah, well, if they think you pick up the call or answer the email, then they don't see anything wrong with it. And you are actually the problem, not them.
Exactly. And I took that to heart. And that's when I started working through some of my more workaholic tendencies. And to the point where now with all of my clients, they know that they can't call me unless it's booked in the calendar.
Yeah.
Literally, I will not pick up their call. And that's out of respect for me and them. And also,
well, you can give them your best,
That's
because
the
you were
key.
run ragged.
Ragged.
You had no personal time.
No.
You didn't have as many moments of as many moments of joy, whether it was like when I make you stay out shopping in London when you want to go home and work for just 15 minutes, like more.
A bit of that, yeah. But yeah,
if you are strapped of joy and you're exhausted, I know all the things we say are the cliche stuff, but they ring true, because I find if I stay concentrated on the job at hand, I can do such a better job than if I let myself go this way, that way, the other way.
Exactly. Now, look, for me, I'm pretty good at setting boundaries these days, and I don't have a lot of guilt, but it took me years to get there, literally to the point where now I go, oh, you know what? I don't want to work tonight. Cool, I'm not going to work. And I tend to not feel any guilt whatsoever.
Did the word fall apart when you make that choice?
No, but for a while I felt like I
You
did.
would, yeah.
But same with people asking for invitations and things like that. I really do, especially now that I know Gay, I hear a voice in my head like, go if you really want to go. And even today we were talking and you were like, oh, I got invited to this amazing lunch. Should I go? And I'm like, what does your intuition say?
Yeah.
What did it say?
I was literally about to say to you, because there were reasons why I don't think I should go. And you said, what was your initial gut feeling? And I went, I shouldn't go because I've got XYZ happening and I know it's just going to push me over the edge. And it's not that I don't want to enjoy that moment. It's not that I wouldn't love to be there. But just that one question you asked me, I was umming and ahhing. See, here's the thing. I actually genuinely want to go to this event. It's actually not, sometimes it was like, oh, that'll be boring. That's not actually the case in this. And I think that's what's interesting about this. I want to go to this event. If it was another week, another day, go with bells on. So happy to go. And this is where you have to get really good. And I was umming and ahhing for that reason. And you just said that one thing to me. You said, what did your initial gut say? And I went, don't go. Because I know I'll either get too tired, get run down, and I've got something big coming up and it's just not worth risking. And if I do not follow my intuition, which is very closely linked to boundaries, actually, I just made that connection. If you're unsure of a boundary, that's a really good question. What did your initial gut tell you? Not just what does your gut tell you, because that's hard, but your first, bam, 2-second gut fire. That's really interesting, and feel the guilt anyway.
Yeah.
But just everything we were talking about reminds me about the phone calls and the emails. When someone calls you and you choose to pick up even though you're busy and the person says, oh, hi, how are you? Oh, I'm just in the middle of something. And they say, I'm so sorry I bothered you. Actually, it's not their fault. It's really interesting. Someone said that to me the other day. I said, I'm in the middle of something, but I really wanted to pick up. And they apologized. And I actually said to them, no, you shouldn't be sorry because I chose to pick up.
Yes.
That person actually shouldn't be sorry. It's on me whether I pick up or not. That is a boundary for me. It's very polite of them to do that and it's kind, but it's actually on me. It's a flip. They shouldn't feel bad.
Very, very
If someone sends an email at 2 a.m., that's their choice. But if I'm looking at them and responding, that's mine.
Absolutely. We know some people, I think resentment is another, we talked a little bit about people pleasing, but resentment is a big emotion around setting boundaries as well. That whole thing of you say yes to something and then, I don't know if you're angry at yourself or you're angry at them or you just feel resentment, right?
Yeah, I think I'd rather feel the guilt and say the right thing. Because really going back to what we were saying about Gay, like trusting her yes.
Yeah.
That a considered yes from someone I'm now realizing is kinder than someone who says yes, followed by you can feel that underlying, that seething resentment. I want a yes that genuinely means yes. So just for me, just what you and I kind of researched about this topic, because like you said, I know you are really good at it. Gay is a superstar at it, and I'm slowly coming behind you guys. But just these things that we uncovered when we were researching this topic have made a massive difference to me, that it's kinder to say yes. You have to feel guilty, or you don't have to, sorry, but you have to accept you might feel guilty, and that doesn't make the boundary wrong, because guilt is better than resentment. A kind yes, or a kind no, either way. I just want it to be real and kind.
Yeah, it's very true.
But that leads us to, okay, that's all well and good. And maybe you're having an aha moment too, that it's all right to feel guilty. But then how do you do it?
One of my little things or strategies that I used was definitely let me get back to you.
Yeah.
I don't know if I use those words exactly, but it would be a moment in my brain where I'd say, just don't say yes. And then I'd just go, oh yeah, okay, let me get back to you, or I'll text you tomorrow, or let you know whenever. Just that, and you're big on the power of the pause as well.
Look, we've talked about it in other episodes, like when you're shopping or you're about to react in an argument with someone. The power of the pause. Have a couple of sentences, this I know for sure, in your back pocket that don't feel bad. And let me get back to you is so great because you're not saying no. It forces a pause because the truth is you're probably not sure. Mm-hmm. Maybe deep down you are, but you're still learning the boundary thing. And let me get back to you gives you that chance to go away in your own quiet time and think, can I do this? And sometimes you even may decide to say yes, even though it inconveniences you, but you're making that choice. You're going, it does inconvenience me, but I want to do this for the person and I want to be there for them. And that's okay too. But give yourself the time. Have a few of them in your back pocket.
Yeah. I also love the whole thing of excuses. When you want to say no, just say no.
Yeah.
I can feel when somebody is sort of like oozing guilt when they start to go, no, because I have this and I have this. I'm like, just say no. That's just me now.
No, I agree. I don't want someone to give me all the reasons because I want to respect them enough. Or if you're not ready to say no yet or you're not sure, that sounds so good. Let me get back to you. But the long excuses just feel, it doesn't feel good.
Doesn't feel good, does it? Or even the language of thank you so much for the invitation. I'm not going to come this time. I would love to get another invitation.
Yeah, like ask me again. It doesn't work this time.
Yeah,
because let's be honest, we can't do everything. We don't want to go to everything and we think, they'll take it personally. But as we were talking about my example, you and I discussed earlier about the lunch I actually want to go to. But I'm not going because I know that's a boundary for me right now, not a boundary towards the event or the person. It's just to my current situation on that weekend. The other thing, just quickly I want to say on people pleasing is in the over 50 lens is what I've noticed myself and others do is around our kids and our family. Mm-hmm. As your kids get older and technically, but they don't need you as much. They just need you differently.
Yeah.
So if they do ask for something, you want to say yes because you, as a parent or a sister or whatever family situation you're lucky enough to find yourself in, you want to say yes because you want those people to need you. And that's a really tricky one, like whether it's, babysitting the grandkids or can you do this for me? And I think that's another important place where obviously you want to, for instance, babysit the grandkids, but it's still okay to have boundaries to go say, I can't do all day, but I can do the morning. So you're still helping them. Or on Fridays, I go to the gym. So if you can try and move it, that would be great. It is important. And the thing I wanted to share is personally, I can be a little bit mean to myself. My bigger issue with boundaries is around myself. Like I'm pushing myself too hard for something to be perfect or to make it perfect for someone else. And I'm mean to myself. And that's where I have noticed I want to get better. It's like, I have to do this thing perfectly, even if I'm doing something around the house, even if it doesn't involve other people, or I have got to go, that's good enough. 80% is enough today. Put it down. That's a boundary I've got to learn. Big time.
That's really good that you shared that. Yeah, that's going to help some people, I think.
I hope so, because I'm talking about conversations I have with myself. They're not even like something for someone else.
We have a chat coming up soon between Gay, and we've invited one of her friends on from the coffee club as well, the coffee crew. They have such a great conversation. They both have quite different views on boundaries,
which I love. That's the thing. And their views come together so beautifully because you'll hear, like, we loved listening to them when they did the record. But I think we should hand over to our cool kids and our wise people and our expert. But I wanted to finish here that just to remember that a boundary explains what we will do. It's not a demand. A demand attempts to control what someone else does. So maybe sometimes we get that confused. A boundary and a demand are very different. So think about that when you're couching your boundary, that you just don't couch it as a demand. Because if you're couching it as a demand, you're saying, I want you to do X. If it's a boundary, the way that you frame it and say it is, I need to do X. And that's massive for me too, because then it's not being rude to them. You're talking about yourself. And that's how you should talk to yourself as well, by the way, when you're talking to yourself, which I do a lot. Let's hear from people who have such cool things to say.
This is where we share voices worth listening to on today's topic. Good to know. Up next.
Here are 5 things you do not need to apologize for. If you don't know me, my name is Terry Cole. I'm a licensed psychotherapist, a relationship expert, and the author of Boundary Boss and Too Much. Number 1, you do not need to apologize for not getting back to people immediately. In this instant gratification world that we live in, a lot of people can have an expectation that you will constantly and always be responding. And for someone who grew up without cell phones, back in the day, people, to get in touch with someone, you needed to call their house phone. It was a landline, and they only picked it up if they were there. So my point is, you have a right to get back to people in your own time and not feel pressured by that. And it helps to let them know, hey, I usually will get back within a day. Number 2, you don't have to apologize for your thoughts and feelings. As long as you're not making other people responsible for your thoughts and feelings, you're allowed to have them, whether people understand it or not. So you don't want to start that sentence with, I'm sorry, but I feel. You're not sorry. You just feel. Just own it. You have a right to feel. Number 3, changing your mind. I think it's the number 3 on the Boundary Boss Bill of Rights is, I have the right to make mistakes, to course correct, and to change my mind. Get new information, the way we feel about things change, our life cycle changes, how we feel changes. So you have a right to change your mind. So, and you can say it lovingly. I've thought about it more and actually I've changed my mind. That's it. You don't need to write a dissertation on it. Number 4, you do not have to apologize for your boundaries. Whether that boundary is you don't want people kissing your baby or you would prefer not to be hugged by people you barely know, that is your right. How someone receives your boundary is not your problem and can't be your responsibility, right? And again, we can do all of this with kindness, with love, right? We don't have to be mean about it, but you got to do it. Number 5, do not apologize for having a need and asking for help. This is something that many of you I know do not do. And I want you to think about how you feel when your friend needs something and asks you for help. You don't find it annoying. You want to help your friend. Let people help you. Ask for help, and there's no need to apologize for it.
Next up, we hand things over to someone younger to decode a trend, a slang word, or something we've missed. All right, let's get the cool kids to explain.
Hi, my name is Liana. I'm 22 years old, so I think I come from a generation in which boundaries are absolutely shifting. There is absolutely a generational and a cultural shift happening between my generation and the one preceding mine. Do I think my generation is getting better at responding to boundaries? I think absolutely, yes. I come from a family which I think is not too dissimilar from a lot of other families. Maybe it's because I'm Sicilian, but you go to a family event and you greet everyone with a kiss, a cuddle on the cheek, or something similar to that. But I remember vividly, I've got a cousin who's in her 40s. And she has a 10-year-old daughter. And I remember at a family event, I heard my cousin's husband say to her daughter, like, you don't have to give kisses if you don't want to. And that really stood out to me because I was like, oh, I never had the choice. So being able to watch my cousin and her husband teach their child about boundaries was a really eye-opening thing to me. Because I remember growing up, I didn't want to kiss my relatives. Like, I didn't want to do that. And I used to say to my parents, I don't feel comfortable doing this. But it ultimately didn't matter because, you do what you're told, you respect your elders. So I never really had the autonomy to push my boundaries in the way that my cousin has allowed her child to. So that's the example that I think about when I think about boundaries. How different this generation is approaching our ability to choose how we get to experience our boundaries and how we apply them. I'm a chronic people pleaser, so saying no it's not an easy thing, especially as a young woman, because saying no sometimes can render an unpredictable response. I know if I'm out on town and a man approaches me or something, if I were to say no, I don't know how people are going to respond to that, gendered or not. I think that's an issue that a lot of people face, like, oh, I don't know how people are going to respond to this, especially if you're a people pleaser like myself. It's a really troubling thing. I think my generation as well, academics call us the anxious generation. I do think that social media has impacted that a lot. Social media has really changed the way that we view relationships physically, right? So saying no, it's a very unpredictable route to go down. So I think that's why we struggle so much, because our lives are infiltrated with an impersonal form of communication, which is social media. So it's different for us. But as I said before, I think we're getting better because we're realizing now that we have the autonomy to say no, and that's a good thing. And I think that's one thing we should absolutely be teaching the next generation, because social media is not going anywhere, but our boundaries can change. The choice, and ultimately you've got the voice. You've got the choice to go about how you spend your time and how you approach your body and your choices and the way you treat others. It's a hard thing to do, but once you get there, it really is a beautiful thing, because it really can better your relationships with others, but more importantly with yourself. When you have a strong sense of self, you know what you deserve and you know what you expect from people around you. You're going to be a happier person and your relationships will absolutely get better. They always say you can only get to know someone on the level that you know yourself. So when we have the time to really think about what we want, how we want people to approach us and how we want to be treated, everything can just flourish from there. It's a hard thing to do, but it's worth it. Setting boundaries is a wonderful thing, and it shouldn't be dismissed.
Every episode, we pause for wisdom from someone who's been through it and learned a thing or two. Here's a word from the wise. Hey guys, we actually have a really special chat this week. Gay's brought in one of her friends who's from the coffee club that we are always talking about. So wait till you hear these two have a conversation. Okay, here we go.
I find it easy to make boundaries because I used to be a yes person and always getting myself into trouble, because you'd get there and you didn't want to do it anyway, or it'd be the wrong timing or whatever, and you still did it and not feel good about it. So I'm now really good at saying no. I don't want to do anything. And if somebody's upset about it, that's their problem, not my problem, right? Because I'm not being cruel, I'm just saying that doesn't suit me to do that now, or I don't want to go there then. That's easy enough to say. And then the other person just has to deal with it. It's not like you're trying to hurt them or anything, it's just that it's your prerogative to choose, isn't it, I think? What about you?
That's all very wise advice. And I need it all.
Come with me, darling.
Because I find it really hard to say no. I obviously do say no because I'm not at everyone's beck and call, but I often feel guilty.
Isn't that
about
interesting?
it afterwards.
My sister and I talked for guilt. Where does the guilt come from, do we think, for saying no?
Isn't it just part of being
It's
a
woman.
And
it's
the
a woman.
socialisation to keep the peace and to go along with everything.
True. Yeah,
Oh,
it is. It's a
drives me
woman
crazy.
thing. Because, can I say, men don't feel guilt. I don't think they do. I never saw it.
No, I didn't ever see it either.
I didn't see it saying,
No,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that or whatever. But women do, don't they? Who feel guilty. The only thing I feel guilty about is I'm not doing enough. If I'm not doing anything and wasting time, I do feel guilty about that. But that's another thing, yeah.
Yeah,
So it comes from guilt, doesn't it?
I don't know.
say
I don't
no.
know where mine comes from. I think it's just being socialised as a child growing up.
As a
with
female too,
female
socialisation of females.
in the decade that I grew up in.
Yeah, same with me, because we're of the same sort of era.
Yeah.
I was brought up to get married, and it wasn't even my parents' mentality. Not really, it's just around us.
Yeah, just
Right.
socialisation.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that I still find it hard to say no without feeling guilty, because when I was at university and then when I studied overseas, the women's lib movement was so strong.
Yeah.
I just don't know why I didn't absorb it.
No. Yeah. Well, I was in the midst of that too.
So I think that the
Was so
socialisation
strong.
when I was a child was just so strong.
It's so strong.
that it was hard to break out of.
Yeah.
And my daughter has actually talked about that with me, about growing up in the 50s and then being women's lib in the 70s, and how was it a conflict for me? And I thought it was a really interesting question. So given the old age that I am, I would really like to be able to say no and just let it go.
Well, I'm giving you
Not
the
feel guilty.
permission now to say
Thank
no.
you very
And then
much.
if they don't like it, whoever it is, they'll be. You know what? They'll still live.
But I'm not worried about them. I
No,
never
you're
say
not.
no and then
It's
go
you.
home
Oh,
and
it's-
worry about other people. I worry
No.
about me. That I feel guilty. I'm not worried about dust. It's
Well, then you should be able to
awful.
say no easily.
I'm worried that I'm not making a big enough effort and I'm not putting enough back into the world.
You have to want to be able to do that without feeling guilt. Guilt is the gift that keeps on giving, I've heard.
When a particular friend rings up and she talks for a long time and there's no gap, so I can't say anything, and then we have an hour-long telephone conversation and then she's ready to hang up and I haven't said anything.
It's a bit one-sided, a bit self-centered.
But I just...
But she doesn't realise it, of course.
No, she doesn't realise it.
Yeah,
No.
she doesn't
And
realise.
what comes over me when I'm listening to her is that I'm giving to her. She obviously needs to talk.
And you're listening.
That's what comes over in my brain that overrides the guilt. She lives by herself and she works really, really hard. And I think that I'm of some value to her that I do listen.
Well, you think about our...
But I don't mind listening, but I would really like to say...
Have a bit of give and take. I agree.
I would like to say my thing too.
I agree. I do agree with that. I think that's only natural. It's only normal.
Yeah,
right?
it's a give and take.
That's a normal
It's a
give and take.
Because I think I've got interesting things to say.
Yeah, and you've got interesting input and you want to be listened to too. That's just normal.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Honest too. Yeah, equal and honest. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. You've given me some insight.
Well, that was amazing hearing from others, and I learned so much from this topic. So if you have someone that needs permission to say no, maybe this would be a great episode to send to them. And perhaps you already are lucky enough like us to have a gay in your life who's already mastered it, and you know you're getting an honest yes. But keep that in mind.
So good. And next week, I can't wait for this topic. Ego. Is it confidence, healthy, self-belief, or self-importance? And how can we tell when a strong sense of self has actually tipped into something else?
Ooh.
Turns out something good might be closer than you think.